Okay, today we look at on the laboratory exercise 5, which is vectors in Rn. So the objective of this lab 5 are you will be able to perform basic vector operations, find a unit vector, find the dot product, and lastly, find the angle between two vectors. So in order to do all the operation, we need to call two library, which are linalt. So first type in with linalt. So this is all the built-in function that we have in linalt package, right? And the secondly, we call the with linear algebra, and make sure that you type in L and A with capital letters. Okay, so this is the list of built-in function that we have in linear algebra. Okay, so first we need to define our first vector. So actually to define a vector, we can use the palette here, which is matrix. So we can call the matrix of row with certain row with one column to represent a vector. So here we call a vector with 3 rows and 1 column. So this is our vector. Right, so you can define any vector in R3. So here we have a vector in R3 because we have 3 components here. So we have defined our vector U, and second, we need the second vector, right? We use the same size, which is 3 rows and 1 column. Okay, and then you can do any operation, right, on those two vectors. So let's say we want to find U plus V, right? We want to add up the two vectors, so U plus V. So this is the answer. And next, we want to find U 2U minus V. So we will get another vectors. Right, so if you want to try on different operation, for example, U minus 3V, right? And this is the answer for U minus 3V. Okay, so you can try on several operations for those two vectors, U and V. Okay, and then next, we want to find the magnitude, right? The magnitude of the vectors. So we are using norm2, right? This one, 2 here to represent that norm2. So we use norm2 because it is a measure to find the length, in which we find the square root of the square. So if you refer back to our textbook, so when we want to find the magnitude, actually we find the square root of the first component plus the square of the second component, and then we square root the whole thing. So that is actually the norm 2, right? So make sure that you use capital letter N, right? Because this is the syntax for norm 2. Okay, and then which vector that you want to find the norm, the magnitude of it, and don't forget to have 2. 2 here represent norm 2 because we want to find the length or the magnitude. Right, so for vector U, this one, 2, -1, and 8, so we get the square root of 69. Okay, and then let's say we want to find the norm of, okay, here I have shared in the class in which in order for you to call certain equations, so now we want to call equation 6, which is the result of 2U minus V, 2U minus V, so this is the result. So we want to find the magnitude of equation 6. So we use Control L, right, to have to type in the 6 and comma with 2 because we want to find the we want to use norm 2. Right, so we get the square root of 246. Okay, so for this one, so actually okay, so okay, okay, actually this part, we want to define vector S. So S is equal to, okay, so since we want to define S with in R2, so means that our row should be 2 and then column should be 1, okay, because we want to present a vector to 1 and define it to be -4 and then okay, so this is our vector S and let's ignore this. So okay, we define a new vector in R2, which is -4, 3, and then we want to find the unit vector of it, right? So unit vector is actually the vector over or divide with norm, the magnitude of it, okay? The vector divide with the magnitude of it. So that's why we have a unit vector of S is S over norm of S, right? Norm of S is actually the magnitude of vector S. So when we calculate this one, so we will get -4/5 and 3/5. Okay, and then for this one, okay, we know that for unit vector, the magnitude is 1. Okay, we can check whether we get 1 or not. So this one norm, okay, percentage. So I did mention in the class, we use percentage in order to call the recent result, right? The recent result. So for this one, we can see that the result is 1, and it is clear that -4/5, 3/5 is a unit vector. Okay, and then we can find the dot product, right? The dot product of U and V. Okay, so this one we use the vector U and V at the beginning of this lab, in which it is in R3. And we find the dot product of it, so we get 11 for the answer. Okay, next we want to find the angle between two vectors. Okay, now let's define another vector, which is U. Okay, we use the same U and V. If you don't want, you define it to be U1. Okay, and then V1. Two vectors, right? And then we want to find the angle of it. So we use the syntax of angle, and then U1, V1. Okay, then we get pi/3. Okay, so this result will be in radian. So let's see if you want to convert this answer in the form of degree. So we use the syntax of convert, right? Convert. So pi. So make sure that pi, P must be capital letter in order for you to call the symbol of pi. Okay, pi/3, in which the result of 17, right? And then comma with degrees. So this is the syntax of it. Okay, so when we find it, we get the answer to be 60 degrees. Right, so that's all for lab 5. So I hope that you are able to perform basic vector operation, find a unit vector, find the dot product, and lastly, find the angle between two vectors, whether in radian or in degree.